Here's all the big. Good evening and welcome to a regular meeting of the Ulysses Town Board. It is Tuesday, April 14th, 2026, and I will call this meeting to order at 7:15 p.m. May we please have a roll call?
Sure. Mr. Manley,
Present.
Ms. Olson,
Present.
Ms. Weatherby,
Present.
Mr. Boggs is absent.
Okay. Thank you. We have a meeting agenda that was posted. And we have I need to remove a couple of things and add a couple of things if the board is willing. The first two under old business for the open area developments at 111191 Teganic and 111195 Teganic Boulevard, we need to reschedule for the April 28th meeting. Because we are still, and I've been in communication with the property owners and representatives from 1191, because we do not have, well, for 1195, we've not heard back from the sheriff's department, and that was one of the stipulations in the resolution. And with both 1191 and 1195, we received communication today from the fire chief with concerns. And I sent it to the town attorney. So we got up like 1 o'clock-ish. Sent it to the town attorney, who wants us to have another conversation with the fire chief because we have a brand new fire chief, and wanted to make sure that the fire safety portion is related to the public space and not on the private property side. So about access, this is about being able to get fire access. So
and he wants to make sure that the access is on the public side,
right,
so there's no confusion or questions.
Right. So I can forward you the email if you want to see. So but I think hopefully we should have that clarification by the April 28th meeting, so I'd like to push those two.
Okay.
And then I would like to add under new business, I would like to add a critical environmental area designation. Well, this will be E. Critical, please help me when we get to this, that I don't roll right past them, because my inclination is always to be excited we're near the end of the agenda. For Smith Woods.
Okay.
Which is was a condition in the contract of the donation agreement we signed with PRI, and so picking it up today, I was able to get the resolution today, so start that conversation. And then F is a potential sponsorship of the 1776 production that is going to be happening this summer around the 4th of July by the Encore performers. I'd like to discuss that. Does anybody else have any items they need added or adjusted on the agenda otherwise?
I'll do that.
No.
Okay, then I accept a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll move as to accept as amended.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Brings us to privilege of the floor. Just a second. Any member of the public is welcome to up to 3 minutes. I set a timer. We'll go back and forth in person and online. So anybody wishing to address us may do so. Is there anybody in person who wishes to address us?
I can go first if you want. All right, I'll pick me.
They listen to me all the time, so.
You want to remember what she says in the law of recency.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Sade.
So if
Hall of Fame.
Yep, so please state your name and your address for the record.
I'm Eric Slocum and I'm at 7187 the Jacksonville Road.
Go right ahead.
Hey, look, I'm a third generation of Tompkins County and I can't afford to stay. I can't. So I haven't had a raise in 3 years. That's this many. I don't get a COLA. So my real expenses go up, but my income is flat. And I'll take a look at some of the things that cost me a great deal of money, and that is here's the delta difference between my 2023, 2024 assessment. That's $444 increase. That's a truck payment for me. Like, you've added a truck payment to my budget, and I can't stay. I can't afford this war, and I just don't, and I want you to know, I don't single anybody out. I'm a third generation Republican, Republican. I think they're both two sides of the same Wall Street coin, right? But nominally you have to pick one because it's a duopoly, right? So I've given it to Tom Reed. Remember him? Filthy pervert. He molested that Air Force girl, right? Tom O'Mara, had good luck with him. He'll be when when Albany just sent me half of my tax return a few years ago, right? Just you call, you got to fill out a form, you got to do this, you got to do that, right? So I listed his help as secretary, who was the one who really had the juice, help me out. But I see there's so many houses, new houses out there, and the assessments have gone up so much. Like if your team of horses is struggling, there's 4 horses, you add 2 more, there's less weight to pull. It's like the taxes should be going down, right? Should be going down. And so I had an epiphany. Yes, thank you so much. So I'm not comparing myself at all to the experience of the black man, not at all. I did live in California for a year where I was the only white kid in my class, but it's different. My buddy said, hey, Eric, when you go back to New York, you get to be white again. But the thing that I have learned is that from Ms. Alexander, is that the town of Ulysses thinks of its constituents not as a citizenry to be served, but as a source of revenue to be exploited. I wholly believe that. I can't see how we have more horses with more money, more houses, and that's it. I'll leave that with you. Again, I can't afford to stay. I really, I can't, and again, this, just to reiterate that nobody feels singled out. I give it to the Republicans and the Democrats, right? But nobody hears you, right? It's more about money. The only person that ever helped me is Tom O'Mara, and I think, was that my 3 minutes? The fix is in.
Do you want to give that to Marcel? We don't need the assessment one. Unless we need it for part of the records. Thank you.
Is there, let me pull up my clock again. Is there anybody online who wishes to address the town board? Okay, is there anybody in person who wishes to address the town board? Please go ahead.
I say go get it.
I don't have anything nearly so colorful. Hi, I'm Roxanne Marino, 4124 Reynolds Road. My comments today are related to the comprehensive plan agenda item. I've been a member of the comprehensive plan steering committee from its inception. I want to first acknowledge with sincere appreciation the opportunity to work with those dedicated folks and the amount of work that has gone into the development of the current comprehensive plan, particularly during these last several months of intensive committee meetings and timeline pressures. I have the following respectful requests for the board as this process moves forward. The first is related to the resolution recommending that the town board adopt the Ulysses 2045 comprehensive plan in the materials for this meeting. The comprehensive plan steering committee vote on that resolution was taken and passed by the committee on March 25th, 2026, after 2 hours of meeting and discussion and voting on individual proposed amendments to the 3/18/26 draft plan. There are nearly 100 individual items listed in the version of the resolution that was included in the meeting materials. However, none of those were written out in the final form they are now when the resolution was voted on, not any of them. The vote was to recommend that the town board adopt the 2045 comprehensive plan as presented in Exhibit A, the 3/18 version, with the amendments approved at the meeting to be written in afterwards based on the notes submitted by members of the committee and taken at the meeting. I voted against the resolution as I felt strongly that the committee should have an opportunity to see the full wording of the resolution they were voting on and to review the final revised draft for coherency and accuracy as proper procedure, and given the importance of the document, a culmination of nearly 3 years of work. The revised draft of the 318 plan that is to contain all the resolved changes was released and posted on the Ulysses United website on 4/7, which is what you have. So my first request is to urge that the town board members read carefully through all 267 pages of the draft plan that you have and check for any errors or inconsistencies introduced as part of the extensive editing, as well as generally in the document with an eye to ways to improve clarity and readability before setting a public hearing on the document or passing it on to other agencies for review. Secondarily, I urge the town board members to review the draft with an eye to comments submitted by members of the public who have sought to engage in the process and several members of the comp plan steering committee, that the complexity and length of the document make it difficult to read. While much work has been done to improve the initial drafts, there are many redundancies and inconsistencies that remain across the 10 chapters, and working further to tighten them up would strengthen the plan and better engage the community it is to serve. Another area of concern reflected in a large number of the public comments received to date is with the future land use map and chapter and the blueprint it represents for growth in promoting moderate density development in areas that are environmentally sensitive and or in higher risk areas for the impacts of climate change and are not reasonably accessible to necessary public services in accordance with smart growth principles for housing development. This is a particular concern to me as the representative from the Conservation and Sustainability Advisory Council stakeholder group. I also note that 4 professional planners familiar with Ulysses, either as residents or who have in the past worked with town boards on developing land use regulations, have submitted very similar comments to those I mentioned here concerning the expanses of medium density residential, and I hope the board will consider them. This major
I'm
update.
sorry, right, I'm sorry, we've already had 3 minutes. But we're happy to take your comments as part of the public record.
Just a moment.
Excuse
the
me,
last page.
we have rules. If the rest of the board would like to extend the rest of the time and more time to Roxanne, I'm happy to do it if that's what the will of the board is. What would you like to do?
How much more do you have?
That's fine. Let's,
Yeah,
yeah, let's
go ahead.
go the full.
Thank you.
Thanks,
This
Roxanne.
major update of the comprehensive plan should do justice to our community's vision for the future and importantly, be a guidance document for future land use and resource allocation planning that is approachable and inspiring for the community and consistent and clear in its key principles and detail for the town boards and committees that will design and carry out an implementation plan based on it. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to work on the 2045 comprehensive plan update with sustainability and climate change and resiliency considerations as key components. And I remain very willing to participate in any further working meetings with members of the board or the public, should you decide that would be constructive in working to a final comprehensive document for adoption. The adoption of the comprehensive plan is one of the most significant land use actions taken by a municipality. Much good work has been done, and it is worth taking the time that is needed to create a document that is worthy of this special town that we call home. Thank you for your consideration and all your work on behalf of the town. And extra half a minute.
Who's up?
Do you have that for Carissa?
Yeah, I can email it to you if it's easy.
That'd be great, thank you. Is there any other member of the public, either online or in person, who wishes to address the town board? Yes, Rich, go ahead.
I want to address the vacancy process. I thought a lot about this, about what would be fair. And I think what would be fair is that you hold off on appointing anybody until the primary election's over. And as we know, whoever wins that primary is going to be seated on the board. So to bring somebody in for a few months who may never not be up to speed, it seems to me it'd be a waste of training and development when you have 2 people here that are willing to serve. So my request is that you wait until the June 23rd primary. And in the meantime, also study what Roxanne said, I own second, study the document while you have that time. And then after the day after June 23rd or 4th, you can make the appointment. That's what I think.
Thank you.
That stands to reason.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in public who hasn't had a chance to speak who would like to address the board? Okay. And we will move on. Municipal board and staff reports. Any committee updates? Like to
The
get-
Youth Commission met last Tuesday and we got an overview from Rachel about the program she's offering for the spring, including I'm gonna get this wrong, production, that's the Community Action Theater?
Mhm.
Community Action Theater program, which is actually starting next week or this week, the 14th. 16th, Thursday. And she's hoping for 10 kids. I haven't talked to her to see if she has 10 signups. I don't know if you know.
I'll know
We've talked-
tomorrow, our regular meeting's tomorrow.
But that seemed like a good thing. There was a lot of participation last year. So she's hoping, or at least in the fall, she's hoping to have this one go through too. She's hoping that you can get like a fall, winter, summer, or spring 3 programs a year for that community action program. It was in Will's report, but again, the camp program sold out within 30 minutes. We did bump it up 9 extra campers a week. Plus we have the campers in training for some of the older kids, 6th and 7th graders. There is a wait list for every week of the summer, but it's in the 10s, not the 30s like we had last year. So not sure if people are finding other places to go or just not trying. I don't know, but we're booked solid for the entire summer. Spring sports are about to start. T-ball, hybrid, coach, kid pitch, or coach pitch. Sorry, not hybrid. Hybrid is going to Little League. Track, and I think that's it for this tennis.
Tennis clinic.
Tennis
Yeah.
clinic. So recreation is big. Where it's gonna be interesting to see how we all find space to do all this up spring, because there's a lot of programs that are fighting for very few spaces still at the school. I know baseball, Little League, we're looking at the fairgrounds. So we're trying to work out a deal to redo that field temporarily until grass roots comes and we lose it again. But so yeah, I think that was it for Youth Commission. We have another meeting next month.
The track program is wildly popular with about 100
There's
kids who
over
do it.
100
Yeah, yeah, so it's about 10% of
Last
the
year.
entire school district participates. And it feeds into Trumansburg track program, which has 2 solid buses of students they are hauling to every varsity meet. And we are just like way bigger than every other school we compete against. So it's been fun to watch that. And the kid who does that. So for Three Falls had a meeting, and right now, we are trying to determine what capacity we have to do any events or activities allowed there this year beyond what the Boy Scouts, we already have a contractual relationship with the Scouts to do, and being a passive use facility, there's been a lot of interest in people wanting to do events or things like that. And the facility is just not in capacity to do that right now, but there may be options to do some small scale events. And what does that look like? As it came up with the state of the town, most likely some shared combination of municipal DPWs will be doing the mowing this year. It's the Three Falls LDC pays the bills on that. So it's much cheaper usually to go with the municipal reimbursement. So we pay the costs for that. It's not a donation by any of the municipalities. But most likely we're going along and be doing that this year. And yeah, we're in that kind of status quo standpoint. The new thing that's starting to be put there is signage. Branding it right now that we have is Three Falls State Park. And also there's going to be a sign with the QR code where people can get more information on the status of where projects are. So hopefully kind of an evergreen sign. I did happen to go on, my plea to the community would be if you could very kindly write a 5-star review on, if you go on Google, there are 3 reviews and we're getting a 2.7 star because I think largely for a bad media that said things had already been done, as opposed to like, this is the plan for the future.
Sure.
So unfortunately, we've had some, apparently some disappointed outside guests.
Oh, no.
Like,
Misunderstood.
yeah, who I think misunderstood what they could expect. The nature center is not open. But anyway, that's what's been going on with Three Falls, and I'm trying to think.
Planning board met last week. They discussed the ODAs, which we'll be talking about next meeting. They also discussed the definitions for data centers, and they actually ended up approving that. And there was a lot of good discussion. So if you're interested, there was probably a good half-hour discussion on different things regarding data centers. So the video's up on YouTube if you're interested. And then the zoning board of appeals is tomorrow, and I think that's also on the agenda there. So that we had asked both the planning board and the ZBA to review the definitions we were proposing to include for data centers, and then come back with any recommendations for changes of language or anything. The planning board did not have any recommendations for additional language. We'll see what the BZA says tomorrow. And then we'll have to go through the whole process to update the law, but
Moving along.
yep. I don't know what else is on the BZA agenda tomorrow yet. I'd have to look that up.
Sounds good. Any other updates? We had the state of the town. I thought it was well attended, over 40 people in the audience, more people online. Then hopefully the video is now posted.
Yeah.
There's, I think most people here were there, but there's the slides, right? The extra slides over there. Is that correct? And lots of great questions. So I was really excited to have that happen. And I'm trying to think, is there anything other committee meetings to report on? I don't think there are.
Finance committee, but there's a whole section.
Yeah, we
about
had a whole
that.
section of
Oh,
finance.
yeah, would you mind talking about finance? I would appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, there are the
Or
minutes.
there was the, yeah.
The meeting minutes are included in the agenda packet.
So I think our focus on finance committee just go around, and it was just myself and Blixie. We're kind of getting my head wrapped around the work plan for 2026. Just thinking about, with no big changes, thinking about the processes that the town that we'll be going through in moving through the budget creation as well as reconciling it over the course of the year. We talked a bit about the capital plan and highway equipment and how separating that out from budget season proper. So thinking about planning for capital so that that number is set before we start talking about budget. So there's separate pieces. Just for ease of thinking about the totals, which I thought was really valuable. I spent a lot of time asking questions as my first go around about the budget, and I noted that I was really impressed with the town as a whole, really hitting the mark on projected expenses and like realistic expenses at the end of the day. So and I shared this with Blixie, it really says to me that this group, which now this year I get to be a part of, really has a sense of what they can do, what they should do, and how their dollars align, because there aren't significant changes or adjustments throughout the year. So looking at those numbers and starting to wrap my head around the different funds that back up the expense side, it was a good meeting. We are holding for the moment as we wait for Rich's approval process to join us on that committee, just to lock in dates that make the most sense. My work schedule, Blixie's work schedule, and then waiting on Rich. So we just get it. So we're not triangulating and then doing it again. Our real focus was looking at the numbers and making sure that I could wrap my head around them. And then I really did notice that we're really good at the budget part, right? The hitting our projected expenses really dead on, which says something that we really have a sense of what's coming down the pike, as well as what we know we have to manage.
That's great.
And we have Blixie.
I was gonna say, like,
So-
Blixie,
She gets a lot of the credit.
I
Yeah.
could tell, I was like, yeah, no, you've got this down. And we talked about her service with other towns and others
Yeah.
situations and the pros and cons that they are facing and we are not in those
Yeah.
sorts of things.
Yeah, no, it also helps to have all these capital plans.
Yes.
And department heads who have a pretty good grasp on what their expenditures are.
Mhm.
Scott Stewart in particular with highway. Recreation getting to the point where it's getting really close to paying for itself.
Yeah.
And only running programs that actually make financial sense.
Mhm.
But it takes a while to develop that. And
Yeah, I noticed it was happening and
Yeah.
it's obvious in the numbers. And so it was something, this group should pride themselves on and Blakely should. And so well done.
so it's been a good, well, thank you so much. It's always an outside assessment. We will be getting the,
I'll be on the inside this time. Everybody can complain at me when we do something weird, but yeah.
so a lot of it's unknown, like I mentioned, at the state of the town, there's a lot of stuff that we make historically have made more conservative projections in, that we've
Yeah.
gotten a little more aggressive in, like related to mortgage tax and sales tax.
Uh,
And so those are always things that can fluctuate by, things happening in the world that we're not budgeted for or planned for
Sure.
in anybody's life in any given year. So keep doing that, but I appreciate hearing that. That's great. Okay. Krista, was there anything you wanted to flag for us this month?
I don't.
Okay. And keep moving on. So we have Matt Horn with us, from, MRV Group. And, not putting you on the spot yet, but, I wanted to, make a couple of notes. This is information that I included in the, that was partially in the, state of the town, that was also in information that I shared, and I just wanted to make sure it was included tonight. And we'll go through when we get into the comp plan steering committee dissolution appreciation. But the amount of work that committee did was really sizable. There were 40 public meetings over 3 years, 12 public hearings, 4 focus groups, 3 open houses, a 3+ month survey process between December of 24 and March of 25. So it was a pretty robust public engagement process. I did want to flag, and that I have subsequently sent to you. I think Liz already had it, but Carl Klinkowski from the committee, who's also the chairman of the committee planning board. He actually, he's just been a stalwart of data analysis. And he actually did a comparison of the resolutions passed by at the last comp plan steering committee meeting. He did an analysis of comparison to those resolutions to the final document to make sure that they had been accurately incorporated. Because the way it worked at the last comp plan steering committee meeting was that the committee adopted as their draft, not as a final draft, but as their draft, pass on to the town board, the draft with like 42 amendments.
Sure.
And so Carl actually went through and determined that every single, all but one of them were verbatim made. And that there was a language tweak, but it wasn't a content, it was more like grammatical, like where periods fell, and it didn't have any content differentiation from the resolution. So I think it's important, and I have now forwarded that. Carissa, if you want to include that in the meeting minutes. I think I got a copy of it also.
So does that mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, does that mean that when we look at the resolution and to accept the plan, that the plan meets some of the concerns that we just may have heard about the variations between amendments and things like that? Is this addressing some of what we just heard in public comment?
Well, I think for me it does, and for Carl, he states that it does. For
Okay,
him.
that's
It
what
was
I'm just making sure I'm following.
Basically,
Relative to what we discussed at the last
Sure.
meeting,
Yeah.
whether there's
Right.
other comments and
Right.
concerns that.
Yeah, and I know we'll get into it, so.
Sure. Matt, what would you like to say before we start chomping through material?
Sure. Well, Matt Horn, MRB Group, happy to be here and appreciated the opportunity to work on the plan. I would say that there's no question that this was a very hardworking committee. Probably, I've been doing this as a consultant for just about 10 years and worked in local government for 20 years before that, supporting communities in all sorts of planning processes. And I would say this process and this committee was one of the hardest working we've ever dealt with. So appreciate the effort that the committee put into this. I'd also say just in terms of public engagement and the availability of the committee or accessibility of the committee and the planning process to the public. When we came into this effort, about a year and a half ago, when we came into this effort, the steering committee and the town were clear. We want a robust public engagement effort. That was designed into the planning process, and then the committee got more expansive than that even. So it was designed to be robust, and I think the committee did a great job of building it even stronger. The supervisor listed out all of those public engagement opportunities. And I think it's suffice to say, just through that list, that this committee took that very seriously as well. So I think the document you have in front of you is reflective of the committee's read on the community and of the planning principles that they set out to achieve. And we're proud of the document because you are. We're looking forward to working with the town board for adoption.
Thanks for that, Tim.
So, I think it's important to reiterate, this is not a final draft, and that there will be, more time and space for public comments. Obviously, people need time to review it. And the interested agencies, that we would, be engaging with will also need time to go through it, including the county 239 review. But I think if the board is amenable, we could start working through the part 1 of the full environmental assessment form. You ready to start? This is that.
Yep.
And so first page, I would just read for the record too. The brief description of the proposed action. The proposed 2045 Ulysses Comprehensive Plan will guide decisions, land use, and development within the community. The principal purpose of the plan is to provide an overall framework for future public and private development within the town. This plan was developed through a collaborative effort involving residents, businesses, community organizations, and the local government to shape the community's physical, social, and economic character. So we move on to page 2 of that. This government approval process, this is identifying interested agencies that we want to make sure that we share the information with. It's not a coastal, it is a coastal area with water. It has a waterfront. It's not a coastal oceanfront area, but it does have a waterfront area on a designated inland waterway. But it is not a site located in a community with an approved local waterfront revitalization program or coastal erosion hazard. I am not going to read every single one.
Doesn't Hugo Lake have a WRP? Waterfront revitalization program, sorry. I could be, I thought
They have other.
We don't, but it's not in our community, I don't think.
okay. Then that's fine.
But if we turn out to be wrong about that,
Yeah,
that'll
we
definitely get flagged. We can correct it. So under planning and zoning actions, it is a local, local law, or local, it will not be a
Plan.
local law, but it's a plan. So we do have to go on. And say yes to some things.
But we don't have to complete the whole thing because we're saying yes.
Right.
So that's why a lot of the sections are empty,
Okay.
because they're not applicable to adopting a
GF
plan.
and GO.
Correct.
So I'm gonna I'm gonna put Matt and Liz on the spot. And if there are things that you'd like to flag as you go through, this is more of your bailiwick than mine. We get to support historic designated resources, we can start talking more turkey.
I mean,
I would just say, if you're, the point you were just hinting at, it can be difficult to complete, or to grasp a environmental assessment form for a planning document, because while the state has determined that it is a type 1 review, which requires a coordinated review amongst the whole range of interested and involved agencies, it's a plan. And so we talked a little bit about this during the scoping process of the comprehensive plan. There was a question about, should we do a draft environmental impact statement or a generic environmental impact statement? And at that time, we worked with your attorney to really determine that future implementation efforts, when you take a policy recommendation of the plan and act upon it, you're going to have to engage in another environmental quality review. And that's when you're going to determine, some of the more specific questions, the answers to some of the more specific questions in the environmental assessment form. So anywhere where you see there isn't information, or there isn't a box checked, or there's a no significant impact noted. It's most likely because adoption of the plan does not carry that effect. Implementation of the plan will require an environmental review where you'll make another determination as to whether that implementation effort addresses or triggers another deeper review. Liz, did I say all that right?
You were great.
So for us, for this part, it's actually only filled out through part C, so the rest.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
C, F, and G,
And we
which is
did-
just signatures.
right. We did work with your attorney to just make sure that that was the appropriate track.
any questions about what's in these sections?
I don't. I think it's straightforward.
I'm noticing F is just additional information. And then we don't have any additional, is that accurate? Like,
Correct.
yes, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if there were any
Oh, just like also
anticipated
adverse
impacts, yeah, you could provide more information
Okay,
that helps the review when you go to do the part 2 and the part 3.
okay,
Since we're not getting into those impacts here because of the plan, like Matt said, we don't have anything additional to add. What do we,
So the order would be to, if you're ready to keep moving forward. The first resolution up is the seeker resolution. It's actually a 3-page resolution, 2 printed pages, so this is only.
do we need to go back to the question about the Cayuga Lake?
no,
waterfront
I just
plan?
looked at it.
I did too, and it's, it doesn't have revitalization in it,
Correct.
in the title, so.
We're
Okay,
good.
I know we have a plan for it. There's a plan.
there's a
but-
plan
Yeah.
there, I just pulled it up as well.
Station for.
Because I know that one of the
Revitalization.
recommendations for the comp plan was to consider whether we want to do a local waterfront revitalization plan
Okay,
for the town, but that was a policy consideration.
okay,
We're good. I just confirmed it too.
yeah, all right,
Great.
we're on the same page.
Checking in real time. I love it. Thank you. So the seeker resolution would be the first one. And this would classify, it's a resolution classifying the town of Ulysses 2045 comprehensive plan as a type 1 action under the provisions of the state Environmental Quality Review Act seeker, declaring intent to be designated lead agency, authorizing a coordinated review under seeker, accepting a full environmental assessment form part 1, which is what we just reviewed, accepting the project steering committee's draft comprehensive plan for said project, establishing a public hearing on said draft, and referring the draft as required by general municipal law.
Can you talk a little bit about lead agency, that
Sure.
term and what
Yeah.
it means for us, because I don't know.
Do you want I mean, I can do it, but it was a
Well,
little better than me.
could someone here
Trying to
who
be more
does an idea?
specific. Trying to be more specific.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
so-
Establishing his lead agency over here, so I'm just trying to make sure I'm. wrapping-
So under seeker,
Mhm.
which is the State Environmental Quality Review Act, there are 2 processes you can go to when you're looking at environmental impacts of a project. You
Okay.
can do a coordinated review, which gives all parties that have funding, permit approvals, or an interest in your project the ability to get all your comments to what a lead agency would be. So we would be kind of leading the review. We would send the comp plan, we'd send the seeker form out, and any comments that those agencies had on the seeker, we would then get back and we would put in part of our record and make sure they're being addressed, or if they are pertinent to and require revisions. The uncoordinated review would be each one of those agencies has to do their own seeker review, which on these types of projects doesn't serve anybody.
Yeah.
But that would be like, so DEC for the Climate Smart Communities plan would do their own seeker review because they're providing us the funding.
Okay.
The town, Gibbs County would do their own seeker review, we would do our own seeker review, but it doesn't serve, I've only seen few projects do uncoordinated review. The lead agency is just,
Yeah, it's just the.
We're
point-
taking
it's
the lead.
coordinating-
We have the
it's
most-
Coordinating.
yeah, we have the
Um,
most, the biggest approval,
Right.
less of.
I'm reading
any of
these other documents, which seem to be built into this resolution. Then ask those other agencies which may have an interest to agree that we should be lead.
Correct.
Or to suggest that they disagree.
Correct.
And then there will be another series of steps.
Correct.
Okay,
So once we get this out, they'll have 30 days.
Yep.
To
So-
either send us a letter saying that they're fine with us taking lead
Sure.
agency, they have an issue with us taking lead agency. If they don't respond in 30 days too, we can assume that there is no issues
okay.
legally, that's by law.
Yeah, did we do any follow-up on the letter? Just as, I'm asking a process question, like if we send this letter just into the void, do we have a plan that on day, 20, we send them follow-up email? Like, maybe we don't, I just don't
The
know.
agencies that are involved
I
are
can
kind
reach
of
the list.
familiar with this,
Yeah,
this,
I'm sure
but,
they are.
So it's in your it's in
Yeah.
there, but so for the public,
Mhm.
Tompkins County Planning Advisory Board, Town of Ulysses Planning Board, Town of Ulysses Board of Zoning Appeals, Town of Ulysses Department of Public Works, Trumansburg School District, Ithaca City School District, Southern Cuba Lake Intermunicipal Water Commission, Tompkins Consolidated Area Transit TCAP, Trumansburg Village Board of Trustees, Ithaca Town Board, Enfield Town Board, Town of Covert, Town of Hector, Erie Canalway National Heritage Corridor, New York State Office of Parks and Historic Preservation, New York State Department of Transportation, and New York State Ag and Markets. So these are all organizations for the most part who are familiar with being considered
Okay.
interested agencies. I think the towns are less likely to frequently get triggered in that. So Enfield, Covert, Hector, but these are like known folks.
Yeah, these
Right.
people, right? It's-
MRB put together all the lists of contacts, and so they're going to specific people. It's not
Okay.
going to info at.
Right, understood.
So,
just to be
I'm
clear.
just asking.
no,
process
it's a great
questions.
question.
So those are the interested parties. There's also the involved parties that have a direct action on the project, which includes the DEC. So just for the record, the DEC is gonna get this too.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so,
This resolution does a lot of things. It's interesting, like, it just like lists a bunch of things to move forward, which makes sense. It's just.
so why don't you guys take a moment just to read through it? Um,
So we're looking to set this up next week.
Sorry, well, you're reviewing that. So I have some.
So which one are we looking at? This one first?
Yes.
It's like,
Not this one.
acknowledging receipt of draft, I think, is what we're looking at.
They seem kind of similar.
They're
Well, one classifies
slightly different.
the plan as an action. I thought we had to accept it before classifying it, maybe not. I don't know if there's an order requirement here.
The classification
That's,
has been done.
it's a statutory classification, so
We don't have an option.
you don't have to.
I'm just asking about, do we have to accept the draft before then
Yeah, I think
resolving to?
the resolution that I reviewed,
Classification.
the order of it was to acknowledge receipt of the draft. That
Are these just the same? Are they basically the same?
acknowledge receipt of the draft, classify as a type 1. Accept part 1. Authorize the supervisor to sign part 1. Declare your intent to be lead agency. Authorize circulation to involved and interested agencies.
Right,
This is the one
right.
we're looking at, right? These are just slightly different versions of the.
So this is the one that you guys prepared and this is the one Nate submitted and we're going with Nate's one. Okay.
Okay, so I can just put this away, so
Yeah.
I'm stopping.
So go with the one page.
So this is going away. Okay. Okay. So many chefs.
That's right. Always defer to the local chef.
I'm pretty comfortable studying this process. Can I ask a question, because you've been sitting with the committee, as I've started to read the document and knowing the drafts coming our way, I imagined, I'm school teacher here, I imagine like the original version, like the older version, and like a track changes of like all the things that got changed. And so my question is like, is there a value in reading the former plan to see the changes? Or is that like an easy access point? Just like, I definitely am excited to read 600 instead of 300 pages. But what I mean is like, is there a value, do you think, having sat with it for so long and looking back to see the changes? Or is it just such a new plan or a new document based on the current space?
I mean, I think the latest plan that was issued last week is kind of includes all the discussions that we've had over the last 7 or 9 months
Yeah.
on this plan. I actually did a compare for Caitlin because I
Yeah.
also wanted to just make sure that the things that we had asked for changed were changed.
Sure.
So I have a compare document that redlines the February version versus the last week's version, the April version.
Okay.
I can share it with you if you want to just kind of go through that to see. Otherwise, I don't.
I guess my question was more actually about the historical
The
plan that we're
context and the change.
that we're still under, right, before we adopt a new one.
Oh,
Well,
Does that make sense? I didn't
He's
know,
asking
I didn't know
about,
about I don't know fully about the process.
Gotcha.
Like if section 1 of the plan is always X,
no.
should I go read X version 1 and now this is X 2026?
I don't.
So if you want to go back to 2009 plan,
Yeah.
what I would recommend is
Yeah.
looking at the objectives.
Okay,
And then you
Okay.
can see what the town's intentions were
okay,
to accomplish things.
Yeah.
And they accomplished a lot of things under
Mhm.
those objectives.
sure,
I mean, some things weren't, of course, because nothing is ever, whose to-do list is ever completely crossed off, mine's
Right.
never. But there was a lot accomplished. So I think that would probably be really useful to look at. And if you wanted to look at the very
Okay.
beginning of the plan,
Yeah.
get the
I
contextual.
was thinking. I'm still thinking this plan.
Yes.
No, I'm
Or
sorry, I
not
was-
the original, not
yeah,
Yeah, I did not pick that up.
no, I thought
2009
it was unclear, so,
I mean, I think the 2009 plan was a good plan. It's still in effect. So,
okay,
but yeah, I think the objectives would be a good
that
place
makes
to
that
kind
makes
of
sense.
look at.
That was my
We
question.
did carry some of them through that were like Caitlin mentioned that they're just can never do everything.
Sure,
So we did carry some of those through.
And if you're looking for, I'm sorry, I wasn't right. But if you're looking for, compare objective to objective,
sure,
in the opening section of this
Mhm.
comprehensive plan is a consolidated set of those.
Yeah.
Of the new objectives, and you can kind of look at side by side with the prior plan. If
Sure.
you're just looking at objectives.
In terms of the drafts themselves, and I think that's what we had a very rough draft that started coming out in July, and then in October was probably the very first more fleshed out draft plan. So we got a lot of public feedback on that draft,
Okay.
a lot of public feedback, which was great. And then we had a one released in February.
Okay.
And then what I would say is the big change happened between October and
Mhm.
February.
Okay,
Like there was a lot of changes that were made. And then from February to March, it's really more of a refinement process than a like full scale like rewriting. Sorry. In the February to March, you see more of the future land use map continue to be revised based on public feedback. We had a 4-hour Saturday session that was primarily dedicated to that. And then definitions within the land use chapter related to that. So that's really, and then
refine the policies.
yeah,
We really, for the last meeting, we focused on the policies and
objectives.
reduce or remove some redundancies, or if there was one similar in land use and one similar in transportation, we tried to consolidate.
okay,
Consolidate them as appropriate.
And we got staff feedback on like some things are just ludicrous to like even attempt to think we could do, like just from a staffing standpoint, like we don't have people able to do certain things. We're most likely not going to have somebody to do it the next, like,
Right.
I mean, the idea is, right, like I don't think it's likely we're going to have a full-time in economic development officer.
Sure.
Like, it's just not functionally. So Chris in particular was really helpful in helping us be like, is this really, does this make sense as something that is actually achievable? Or should even the town be doing it? Or is this better suited for a
County or state.
states?
okay.
Chamber, exactly.
Right. Are they already
Thank
doing
you so much?
Yeah. So I think that's those are great questions. Okay, so the resolution before us, it accepts the draft that the comp plan committee has passed on to us. It goes through, accepts, we've received the part 1 of the full environmental assessment form that we've been through also, and this was prepared by MRB. The town board desires, whereas the town board desires to classify adoption of the draft comprehensive plan as a type 1 action and accept the seeker part 1 FEAF as prepared by MRB and to authorize the town supervisor to sign the FEAF part 1 on behalf of the town board. Whereas the town board intends to act as lead agency for seeker review of the proposed action. And whereas the town board desires to circulate the draft comprehensive plan, the seeker FEAF, including the signed part 1 and other such related necessary documents as may be appropriate to all involved agencies and interested agencies. And to request their input within the time period established by seeker. And whereas pursuant to General Municipal Law 239, the town board desires to refer the draft comprehensive plan and related materials to the Tompkins County Department of Planning and Sustainability for review. This is you'll hear this number, it's 239 review. So that's what that review is. Whereas the town board desires to schedule a public hearing on the draft comprehensive plan to receive public comment prior to any action on the draft comprehensive plan. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Ulysses hereby acknowledges receipt of the draft comprehensive plan as completed by the comprehensive plan steering committee and referred to the town board. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby classifies adoption of the draft comprehensive plan as a type 1 action, accepts the seeker part 1 FEAF as prepared by MRB and authorizes the town supervisor to sign the FEAF part 1 on behalf of the town board. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby declares its intent to act as lead agency for seeker review of the proposed action. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor or her designee is hereby directed to circulate the draft comprehensive plan, the signed seeker part 1 FEAF and such other related and necessary documents as may be appropriate to all involved agencies and interested agencies, and to otherwise take such steps as is necessary to commence coordinated review under seeker. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby refers the draft comprehensive plan and related materials to the Tompkins County Department of Planning and Sustainability for review pursuant to GML 239. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby schedules a public hearing on the draft comprehensive plan for May 12, 2026 at 7 p.m. to be held at Town Hall. And further resolves that the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to provide said notice of public hearing as required by law. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. I'm gonna move that. Is there a second that we can discuss?
Second, that.
Thank you. Okay, so, my intention would be that we open the public hearing on May 12th. And then we table it to reopen, 2 weeks later, on the 26th of May. So there can be at least 2 opportunities, on this. The way this process works, is that we need to, that'll give everybody more than 30 days, agencies, interested, involved agencies to respond. May 12th is not 30 days out, but we can start the hearing process.
Sure.
And we may have heard from all the interested, involved agencies, but if we haven't, we need to make sure we did the 30 days anyway. But then this will give the public, at least another opportunity. If the town board at that point wants to make, substantive changes to, the document as we move forward and have meetings and conversations, we would need to go through a process of, having another scheduling another public hearing on a revised draft.
Mhm.
But in that process, we will have any changes that we want to make, we would have the town attorney do an evaluation to determine what constitutes size. Right, changing some, improving grammatically a paragraph is not considered a content change. That's a very light touch document.
Sure.
Deleting duplications of things, not considered a heavy touch. Rewriting a chapter, or rewriting the process of how we want to,
Mhm.
if the philosophy behind one of our chapters is not,
Sure.
where the community wants us to be and where the board doesn't feel comfortable, then that's the kind of thing that would start triggering, needing to hold another public hearing. Or if we get feedback from interested, involved agencies that we've really missed the mark on something and we need to rework something, then that's where we are.
And just for the record, so we've been focusing on involved agencies and the interested agencies because there's a time frame associated with
Yeah.
seeker. But at any point from now until this plan is officially adopted by the town board, we're accepting public comments.
Sure.
So anybody can always email Carissa, or any of the town board members to provide comments. So
And-
then they'll be part of the public record that'll go in as part of the comp plan. So I just wanted to make sure that that
Yeah.
was clear, that this is open to public too.
And the draft version that we're accepting, the draft that we are accepting would be public with those redlined track changes in the comments. As I was thinking about what we heard earlier, and then that Carl went through and, noted the amendments here to change.
I don't know if he did.
So
I
the
guess-
document that is posted, he went through and,
Just
Made the change.
no, he
No,
didn't make
no,
the
no,
changes. No, no, no.
No?
So we had a draft, the March, I forget, whatever the March date draft was, that the comprehensive plan committee, steering committee reviewed and said, okay, these are the like 42 things we want to change.
Okay,
And then MRB produced that document
Okay.
that had those changes, and Carl confirmed, and Liz also did
so
with
Carl
her
went
track
through
changing
with,
to verify that in fact those changes had been made
okay,
before it was released to the public. So that's already embedded in the, it is not for the public's viewing, that we don't use track changes
Sure.
for the public because it's just way too.
it would be
confusing.
very, yes, it'd be very,
But all of the
That would be
document,
sure,
all of the documents, historical documents that have been
Mhm.
released are available.
okay,
For someone if they wanted to go back and review the previous.
Yeah, all the drafts
Yeah.
all the drafts that have been issued are still available on the website. They don't get pulled down.
okay.
So if somebody wanted to do a comparison on their own.
So
They're
that brings me to, I wonder if, and this is again, part of the process and things I'm learning. We're acknowledging receipt of a draft comprehensive plan. Is there a value in adding the date of that plan as compared, or,
Mhm.
so that in this resolution, it's really clear when someone goes to look, that this is the one, not the previous or three. It's way to, under the whereas it's the first now therefore. Just curious if
Yep,
there's a
no,
value in
I
a
think-
date or tied to this, if this is a dated June, or I'm sorry, it's dated 4/10.
Yeah, do you want to accept, draft comprehensive plan dated 4/10?
Yeah, that'd be
Sure.
Is that the date it was released?
So the date was 4/7.
Yeah,
Oh.
4/10 was when I signed the
Sorry,
Yes, okay,
resolution.
so 4/7.
so.
Just thinking about people wanting to go backwards and
Yep, no,
the right one. And we are accepting the one that we say we're accepting.
I think that's a good catch. Always better to be crystal clear.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you for all the work and the months and months and days and hours that have gone into this work.
It was a
And-
whole group of
and-
people.
and you and the whole team, and all the people here and listening or watching later. So looking forward to being a part of this piece of it.
To read them.
Lots to get some good reading.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, well, we have a motion, a second. Is there any further comment?
I know,
Discussion?
just, the only amendment we're making is the adding the date.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a friendly amendment. Okay, then I will call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Keep not on my agenda. I lost my agenda. That's not.
I know, there's way too much.
There's my
There's
agenda.
one-
I found one. No, yeah, those are so, those are, so
It's time
Let
to
us-
dissolve some stuff. for
exactly.
you.
Okay, so I'm gonna move some things off my plate. So if anybody else is trying to do the same thing, I'm just trying to consolidate paperwork. We're gonna be returning to our stapled agenda, our resolution packet. Alright. Okay. Okay, next up is the comprehensive plan steering committee dissolution and things resolution. Whereas the comprehensive plan steering committee, CPSC. Was established in 2022 to undertake the process of overseeing the development of a draft comprehensive plan. And whereas CPSC first convened on April 17th, 2023. And the town received final contractual approval from the Department of Environmental Conservation in November of 2023. And whereas CPSC completed an RFP for planning services, recommended MRB Group, and their selection was approved by the town board on June 24th, 2024. And whereas MRB and CPSC finalized a public involvement plan, PIP, which the town board approved on September 24th, 2024. And whereas MRB led 4 focus group sessions with key stakeholders to identify strengths, weaknesses, challenges, and opportunities related to planned specific elements of the comprehensive plan from October 24th, 2024 to March 13th, 2025. And whereas CSPC and MRB held a community-wide survey from December 2024 through March 2025, with advertising, including but not limited to postcards mailed to physical addresses, posters in the community, and town newsletter distribution. And whereas CPSC held joint visioning sessions, the typo in A, with the town board from January through April 2025. And whereas public open houses to gather community feedback on strengths, weaknesses, challenges, and opportunities related to planned specific elements of the comprehensive plan were held on March 19th, 2025, October 6th, 2025, and November 19th, 2025. And whereas CPSC released approximately half of the drafted chapters of the comprehensive plan in July 2025, with the whole first draft of the comprehensive plan released on October 6th, 2025. And whereas additional dates of the comprehensive plan were released on February 2nd, 2026 and March 18th, 2026. And whereas CSPC held 40 public meetings, including 12 public hearings, all of which were available to attend in person and remotely, and which were recorded and posted to the town's YouTube channel. And whereas CSPC voted 7-1 on March 15th, 2026 to recommend the committee's final draft with amendments. Did I screw up the date? I did. What's the date?
No, you said the 15th, it's the 25th.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's written correctly.
You have not. You've been reading a ton,
Yes.
so I was trying not to say anything.
Yeah, I mostly read to small children who don't catch the words as I'm changing around. Thank you for catching it. It was actually the 25th. With amendments made at the meeting to the town board for their further consideration, hereby completing the duties assigned to the comprehensive plan steering committee. Now therefore be it resolved. that the Ulysses Town Board accepts with appreciation the draft presented from the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee with the intent of continuing the public review process and soliciting feedback from interested parties and citizens. And I'd like to amend that to say interested agencies, parties, and citizens. And be it further resolved that the Ulysses Town Board dissolves the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee effective immediately. And be it further resolved that the Ulysses Town Board extends its deep appreciation to the members of the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee for their service to this important project over the last 3 years, including, and I misspell, we need to correct Ty's last name.
Yep.
Ann DePetta, community member and chair, Elizabeth Weatherby, Town Board rep, agricultural rep and vice chair, Ty Basilis, agricultural rep, Diane Cohen, community member, business rep, Rosemarie Hanson, community member, village rep, Carl Klinklowski, community member, planning board rep, Lakeshore rep, Mo Klein, planning board rep, Roxanne Marino, sustainability or conservation sustainability advisory committee rep, Karen Meter, board of zoning appeals rep, Lakeshore rep, Kim Moore, board of zoning appeals rep, business rep, Caitlin Olson, town board rep, youth rep, Rebecca Schneider, planning board rep, not prep. And Allison Weaver, community member and business rep. So I will move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? You already got your, that's very nice. Thank you. So I appreciate that.
No, I just thank you to the committee. We put a lot of work in, and I think it shows in the draft that's now in front of the town board. And even though we've had lots of meetings over the last couple months and everybody needs a break, I kind of miss seeing those folks so often. So hopefully we'll see them other places.
I think we will.
We gotten habits.
Yeah.
Of seeing everybody every 2 weeks.
Great. Then I will call for a vote. All those in favor with those amendments?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you.
Clarify that first amendment.
So I said interested agencies in the first resolve, interested agencies and parties.
Yes.
So that was the first one.
So there wasn't a date.
No, I misread it, but it's accurate.
Yeah, it was
document. I turned 25 into 15. And then I Ty's name to me to be corrected and then planning board rep.
Got it.
Okay.
And thank you to MRB for working with us the last 2 years.
Well, I hadn't finished.
I know you're not done
They're not
with
done.
us,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, town board vacancy. What?
So that.
What? Oh, I didn't realize I'd print them out for you. Okay, yeah. Nope, it's not different. It's the same. It's just a lot more copies. We can pass more into the public if anybody in the public wants them. Here. So many papers.
That's one for.
Yep.
one.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Where are you gonna settle?
Okay, so at the last town board meeting, the discussion was that the board intended to have an open process for doing the appointment, and Roxanne pointed out that the last process took 4 to 5 weeks, which I confirmed with my records as well. This is the last time we did appointments in 2022. And so I kind of gauged out what that looks like from a process standpoint. And there's a resolution in the packet. Just we can tweak the schedule, we'll do whatever the town board desires to do. But this is kind of what that schedule looks like and following along a process. And so I wanted to open it up to conversation about what you think about the timeline. It's not an insignificant amount of work for on the internal side of doing promotion, all this. And so my deputy is our in-house designer, and she's also a part-time employee. So I mean, mostly she'll end up having to this will be work that she'll be working on next week if this is adopted.
So how? Just going back to the public comment. So June 23rd is the primary.
Yeah, that's one
Which-
primary. We
Yes,
don't, we don't know about the independent side.
Correct.
That day is.
And if somebody happened to run on the Republican line, which I know, I'm just saying.
No, the Republican line would already be filled. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks. Sorry, just, the party system has already been filled.
Okay.
The independent system has not.
Right.
Petitions for that don't even start until today, I think was tomorrow.
Okay.
And then they have another month. So
Okay.
we don't know if there's gonna be anybody on the independent line.
Okay.
And we won't know that for a while. So we could be still, even if, and it's important that I'm very clear that this is I'm saying this in a nonpartisan way. This is why I'm an elected in a party, that I'm not speaking on a party basis.
Mhm.
There's no way of knowing whether or not for a while, whether or not there'll even be a competitive seat in November.
And then in the world where people jump in and get excited at the last minute, there's always write-in situations, right? Like competitive or not, like we can't know until it actually happens.
Sure.
One thing the town attorney did flag is that we cannot legally link our decisions to a separate independent process. So it would not be appropriate for us to say like tonight that whatever the Democratic Party says is gonna be, will be, like, that's not.
That makes sense.
It doesn't mean you can't factor a multitude of things into a decision making,
Sure.
everybody gets to vote, but like, that's not from a procedural standpoint, we can't just do that. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Well, I think if you're gonna have public interviews of applicants on June 23rd, that's the day of the Democratic primary, where I'm sure Keith and I are gonna be out there collecting the votes. I don't think that's a good day.
Okay,
for a
thank you.
public interview of applicants.
Sure, thank you.
We just
Yeah, we just can't do it back and forth, it doesn't work, if I do it for you, I have to do it for everybody, and
Oh, no, that's not what I was saying.
right? I'm sorry, misunderstood.
I think we can view these dates as tentative, like the idea was we asked Caitlin to map out a possible schedule. And so based on what she had experience with previously, and so this is. All the dates are made up for right now, like,
Right.
but this is a tentative schedule that we're looking at, and we're discussing it before approving it.
Sure. I
So-
think,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think putting this out sooner than later, and I mean, we might get one person, we might get 10. We really don't know until we really go out with the request for
Right.
applications. So, I mean, we have no idea what people are thinking out there.
Right. And have you heard any questions asked in your direction about, besides having a process at all, like people who are interested, who said as soon as you get the process?
It is amazing to me that in the town election, and there were other seats in consideration, but in primarily town election, we had over 1,400 people participate.
Mm-hmm,
And in the village election, there were 99
Yeah.
who voted,
yeah,
and there was no contest at caucus, and there was no independent candidates, and there were no other political parties.
right,
So it's just, I have learned I find that the town is far more politically engaged
Sure.
at this juncture, in my experience in the villages. For village owned positions. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that village residents weren't very engaged in the town election. But I think that the two pathways are really that we just appoint somebody,
mm-hmm,
or we go through a transparent process where we take the public engagement seriously. And I don't really see much middle ground in between the two, right? Like, either you really put your thumb on the scale,
yeah,
or you treat the public seriously. And there might be people, who want to come, would apply who have municipal experience, who will say, hey, I can come through the rest of this year. I don't want to do it in January.
right,
So I think we just need to pick a path, a plan, and work our plan. And then we let the public be engaged. We do have our DEI policy actually does require us to, not just, it's not you know, that they weren't good old days. But I was told by a retired judge about the good old days when the town board would meet in the clerk's office and make all the decisions and then come into the public and have a meeting. And it was real fast. And, you know, and that's just not where the town is right now. So I
Right.
think if we want to pick a transparent path, we pick
Sure.
a path and then we just work it. So,
And I think it's appropriate to put an application. Like a request for applications and bring the public into the process. I mean, it's. Person who's gonna be representing them, so I think they have a say in it just as. Much as we would. So I don't want, I'm not in favor, I guess I should say, of just appointing somebody.
Right. I was not suggesting a question of appointing or not going down that path. Your comment had been, we don't know what people are thinking, and my question was, do we, like, have we heard from anybody? Like, I'm waiting for your decision on appointment or application, and what I'm sensing is we haven't heard anybody knocking down your door for us to make the decision so that they can move through whatever process we make.
I mean, I've had multiple people ask me,
Okay.
but I don't know if that's reflective of the only people in the community who are interested.
Okay, fair enough.
That would
Okay.
be my,
Okay.
that would be my,
Okay.
and there's been press inquiry and all of
Sure,
that.
yeah,
so,
definitely. Okay, so there,
Okay.
so that gets back to, we do know there are some people out there who are curious.
So I mean, and I'm not insensitive to the June 23rd date. If you want to move that to a different date, we can. I think it might be hard to,
You wanted to hold it on the town board meeting day.
yeah.
Do we typically hold town board meetings on election days, so as we don't tie to somebody else's calendar, or?
Well,
just don't
it's,
know. Doesn't often
I don't think
happen, but
I can't remember
We're
last
neutral.
time we, yeah.
It was an election day. Never.
No, I
No.
think that was a week
Youth commission
before,
day.
that was the first week.
Youth commission.
it's just a random date that happens to
Yeah.
be that this time around. Okay,
I think, yeah, that must be the primary. I mean, I don't remember the
We
last
haven't had a
time the town
primary.
had a well, the town didn't used to be a primary town.
right.
So it's never actually had a primary. Ulysses has never had a primary, although there have been primaries
Sure.
for state and
Sure.
federal, but there aren't any else this year, is
Got
what
it.
I'm understanding. So this will be the only item on the ballot.
I think I'm in line with Liz that getting public involvement is the way to go. I think that's, even if it slows the process down, or extends it out rather than an appointment might. I want to just ask one last question. Is this going to limit or overwhelm the staff time that you currently have planned for? Like, that's-
Extending it won't, truncating it will. I mean, I really think realistically, I don't think we could get materials legitimately circulated. That much material legitimately circulated before next Friday.
You know, I don't think I'm asking about truncating. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
What
not,
is it?
I'm saying
Just
like,
as it
can
is.
we, if we did this, if we said this is the plan, because it makes the most sense, it lines up with what's been done in the past.
Did you get a copy of this?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Is this a plan that the staff as currently situated can also handle without being overwhelmed?
It's one of those things that was not in the work.
Sure,
plan last
absolutely,
year
right.
When we.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
budgeted And, made a list of the things we wanted to do this year, but that's just kind of
That's
the
the
nature.
nature of things. No, that's why I figured that was the answer. I just. We're
So-
trying to be responsible to all take care of all of you as well, doing the work that we
Mhm.
put upon you by making this decision.
So that's why it really was kind of like tucked in around existing town board
Yeah,
meetings.
that
So like
makes
we could
total
do
sense.
an open house in advance of the town board meeting on the 9th. And that would give an opportunity for members of the public to chat with the applicants themselves. That was feedback I got the last go around. It wasn't as feasible then because of COVID. The COVID time was still weird in 2022, but that was some of the feedback that I got way back then.
That people wanted an opportunity to.
Yeah, to have a conversation.
Yeah,
mean-
no, that makes, again, I'm not
Yeah.
asking to say.
Oh,
this
no,
plan is
no,
wrong,
please,
just-
no, please, this is just a draft I threw together, not even recognizing the 23rd of June.
I mean,
Um,
can we go start this process? And on May 29th, if we have one person who submitted an application, then that might change things.
Yeah, so I think the way the resolution is drafted,
Tentative timeline.
the following plan and tentative timeline, subject to change if needed as
Mhm.
follows. I
Yep.
mean,
No, that's fine.
we'll be seeing each other every couple of weeks. We can always make any additional changes. It's not,
Mhm.
Yeah, so May 29th, we'll have a sense of who is interested, how many people, and then we can always modify the next couple stages.
To be sure.
sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
So do you want me to make a motion to, do we have to read the resolution first?
you don't need to read the book. I was doing it for the other ones because there's been some.
No, there's a lot on that one.
If anybody.
So I'll make a motion to approve the resolution on the town board vacancy process and tentative timelines as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Okay, any further comment?
Thank you for putting this together. No, it wasn't part of the plan.
And Nate looked at this, right?
Yep,
Okay.
Thanks to everyone considering applying and thinking about putting themselves up for town service.
in any way you're doing it.
Exactly.
Yep. Doesn't happen without the people.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. So. Coming now to request for qualifications. What's this document? Got in habit, I see it being out real fast, and this is a real chunker of the meeting, and that's pushing 2 items off the agenda.
You warned us. I
did.
was prepared. I get to go home and grade papers after this. So
Okay, well, I have.
report card week.
Oh.
It's got to be finished.
It
So it could be a long night.
could be a long
Either
night
with
for
or
you.
without this meeting. So.
Hopefully we incentive, will jazz you up and give you plenty of energy. Okay, this is a request for an RFQ, request for qualifications for professional engineering design, project management, and grant writing services, specifically on transportation infrastructure, bridges and culverts. The idea behind this is under the town's, and this has all been reviewed by the town attorney.
Okay.
We are waiting on insurance feedback. And so the resolution I presented is that we can approve it tonight, subject to insurance and attorney final sign off, basically, in case there are any tweaks that need to be made as a result of that. We have two, we're fortunate with MRB that they were able to get us to water quality improvement. Is that right, Grant?
Yeah.
Quit
WQIP.
program, the key in there. Thank you. They were able to get us 2 of those. This process, and because we have those 2, it makes logical sense to clearly pick an engineering firm to help us work through that entire process. So if we only had one, we could just go through a bidding process to hire an engineer or whatever. This will allow us to go through a process and make a determination who can do that work, and then we can immediately go into the design phases on those as those contracts are released. We have signed the Garrett Road contract. We've not received the Agard Road contract, but we know it's coming. It's inevitable. So this is specifically to provide engineering services for that. This is kind of the direction a lot of municipalities are starting to go in, is having engineering firms to provide, it's not just having like a general town engineer. It's having, the deep knowledge of going on a particular type of engineering services. We've not done any engineering RFQ process in the town for about a decade. And so, I mean, it's time to do that. We've done other professional services RFQs subsequently for non-engineering things. And so this got flagged by our attorney as something that we should be doing. The town board has been talking about it for a while, and finally we're kind of at that spot. And it makes sense when we have money. We're not just going through an RFQ process for fun, right? But doing it for specific projects that we have in the pipeline. So, any questions about that? There's a whole lot of process that goes into doing all of this.
Limiting them to 15 pages.
You think you think that's wishful thinking? Should we can change that.
I'm just
Does exclude standard forms, so they can go far beyond that.
in the resumes. Okay,
Exactly.
resumes are. I mean, no, I mean, we're gonna get the same information from folks. We might not get a full detail on the projects that they worked on. If they're limited to 15 pages, but at the same time, we can always follow up if we have questions.
I mean, I nobody will mind if we change it. If you think you have a lot of professional experience in this, if you
Well, I
think
don't-
raising it.
I want you guys to be reading 100 pages.
Oh, it won't be just us. It will be a
Not sure.
committee. It will be used also. So we're not gonna have all the fun. It's gonna be a group effort.
I don't know. I feel like 15 might be a little small.
Okay, what would you recommend? 30, 25? What are we looking at?
No more than 30. Probably 25 could be done. Because you want, I mean, where I would see is like the relevant experience references.
Mhm.
Where you're talking about the relevant experiences, I want to know what they did
Sure.
for a particular project. Like, did they help with everything that we're asking to, or did they only help with the RFP response or the grant writing or whatever it might be? So I don't want them to feel limited.
Yeah. So
So I think 25. would be
25?
fine.
Okay, we'll amend that to 25.
Some might still come in under.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we did one proposal, I think it was for IT services, and their response was like 400 pages.
Yeah,
can't
no,
remember
I don't
what it
want-
was, and it was just, I was like, there is no way anybody would ever read this much. So you're doing a control F to find the stuff you're looking for in the response.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be reading 400 pages 5 times up.
It might not have been IT, but I won't blame IT, so we're gonna, it was somebody, I remember.
So in this request, we're inviting people to say they are qualified for a project without specifically like the RFP, because
Right.
are they then on deck to do that project? And would we hold 2 or 3 applicants who meet our goal and we just sort of rank them and see if they're available when they're ready? Like how is, or we just, this is how we get one on the deck, on the waiting?
This is how we get one on the deck, but if they ended up putting together a proposal that we have every ability at that point to reject a proposal that they put together.
Okay,
If they come in, you know. We're anticipating, we have we have 1.5 million and they
Yeah.
come back with a $3 million project, that's a non-starter for the town, like.
okay,
So this does not commit us to having them do the work. It
Right.
puts in place that we went through a vetting process.
right, we already know who they are.
And it's in compliance with our procurement policy then to do it.
Okay,
And so it's. This has also been vetted against the contractual terms
yeah,
of the grant process. So it
Okay.
basically streamlines the process, so we don't have to go through a full bidding process for each individual part, of the project.
okay.
So.
All right, we do have that. I was gonna say, do we state that fits under general conditions?
Yep. I mean, in the ideal world, you pick a company that can deliver you all the way through. But
Right.
if they fail to do so for whatever reason, then we're not committing the town, at this point, we'd not be committing the town board to anything.
Okay,
And sometimes I mean, I don't think it's gonna be in this case, but you can put out RFQs that fail. Or that
nobody,
you
there's
reject
nobody
everybody.
responds or,
Nobody responds or you're not happy with any of them. I
Okay.
don't anticipate that being a situation for engineering, but it does happen for other projects.
Okay.
Can we,
What else would you like to change?
just, it's MBE, WBE, DBE.
DBE and add a DBE.
Disabled business enterprises is another just term.
So add.
And I think there's a veteran, Veteran.
Service disabled.
yeah, service to say SVD.
SVD. SVD?
SDB, service disabled veteran.
SDB, okay.
That's
Thank
what
you.
it is.
Those will be in your grant contracts.
Yeah.
Those targets.
Okay,
So just add to
add those two.
include those. Yep.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for catching that.
Otherwise-
And the intention is to put this out as soon as reasonably possible, as opposed to having like the exact dates in there right now, because we still have, like I said, we still need to get the insurance. Feedback. And. Have Nate sign off on the final changes we just made, but I don't see any issues with that, but you know, there might be some tweaks, but nothing substantive. I mean, if we made any substantive changes, we come back to the town board.
The insurance feedback would be if our insurance says no to the person.
No,
Or is it tied to this, they have the insurance, there's a bullet here, they have the insurance required by us.
so what the insurance company,
Anything.
yeah, the insurance company is actually reviewing this document.
Oh,
See if
okay.
they want any more language embedded in for requirements of the contract that we
Okay.
have.
Okay,
Yeah,
they're reviewing, got it. Okay.
yeah, so they're reviewing our document.
Cause they wanna know, they might be something they wanna know that we haven't put in here
Yeah,
yet. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
or if they want anything else. Someone say boilerplate language that they want included.
We're giving them 30 days to respond. Once we have this confirmed and
Yes.
we're ready to issue, it'll be a 30-day response.
Does that seem reasonable to you?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, our intention is to get this out as quickly as possible, because we know that the summer gets really hairy. For contractors.
Yep.
The mosquitoes are already out, and so they have bitten me several times, and I'm just. Oh,
Already?
oh, yes, I had one in my house. Smushed it
I don't think so.
with no regard for. Its life. But, okay, so the resolution on this, and I can move it, whereas the town of Ulysses seeks specialized engineering services for transportation infrastructure, and whereas it is best practice to periodically investigate professional services availability. Now therefore be it resolved that the core request for qualifications for professional engineering design, project management, and grant writing services is approved, with edits made at the meeting, pending final approval from the town attorney and town insurance broker, and be it further resolved that the town supervisor or her designee is authorized to release the RFQ as soon as it is reasonably feasible.
One second.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay. Vehicle use policy. More things off the deck. Okay. So. Having the. As we got a new electric vehicle, it required us to consider what we did or did not have in our own policies about trying to procedurally. Not that we've had issues in the past. There are some policies on record about it, about vehicle usage. Also at the organizational meeting, there was some board conversation about wanting clarification on mileage and how mileage was considered, and those kinds of two things intersected. And under the advice of the town council, and just making sure that we have a clear policy about how folks get to, the vehicle usage. This is how this document came to be. Carissa provided feedback, Blixie, town attorney, my deputy. And the basis of this is that this applies only to town hall staff, so it does not apply to anybody who is currently covered under the union. That's completely separate. This is related to the town hall fleet. It clarifies who's entitled to the money if you get mileage. And the idea is that we have a vehicle, and it's best practice for any number of reasons, from a liability standpoint for the town, from a liability standpoint from the person operating the vehicle, from a public benefit standpoint of reimbursement costs, things like that, that if town employees are doing town work on a routine basis, it makes most sense to have them use a town vehicle. Like that's kind of the simple nuts and bolts of it. It is the policy of the town to reimburse employees for reasonable expenses incurred as a result of a personal vehicle use on behalf of the town. and we have a process for receipts and expense reports. That personal vehicles should only be used, may only be used with permission of the town supervisor, the highway superintendent, commissioner of public works. So the idea behind this is that for people, especially who are doing regular day-to-day work, they should be using their town vehicle, the town vehicle they're assigned to, not a personal vehicle. However, if we're in a situation where on a yearly, a year-round basis, we have an employee who doesn't have access to a town vehicle, then we can look in the future at a vehicle stipend. That's not a situation we have right now, but we're trying to build a policy that is applicable to now and that could grow in the future. And the reason I say that is because the Youth Commission has been in some very active discussions for the last probably year, off and on, about the town's ability to acquire a vehicle specifically for the youth department to use. And so because of that, we're trying to think about things that makes logical sense to have embedded in a policy where we have a fleet, like there's more than one. Clarifying who's responsible for registering and insuring the vehicle. These are a lot of things that have been these happen already, but it's actually never been clarified who's responsible for any of these things. And unfortunately, when you start pulling a thread, you find all these other threads that you need to adjust. What's specific in this is that, and the highway superintendent is fine with this, is it makes logical sense for him to be in charge of the municipal vehicle fleet at town hall, because he's responsible for the ones at the highway department, and he has a wide variety of vehicle responsibilities. And he actually has admin assistants to actually, Lori keeps track. She has a database or a spreadsheet where it keeps track of all the registrations that need to be updated, when they need to be doing the schedule of when things need to have routine maintenance. And so this is just adding one more vehicle to a list that she's already actively maintaining. So it means that we're not keeping multiple lists in places. Something that Scott has found to be very useful and is having GPS installation units installed in the public vehicles. I think this is going to be especially important when we have, if we get to the point where we have a youth services vehicle, being able to do that. In the past, it's been helpful also especially with big trucks. When a big truck goes by you, it can feel like it's moving faster than it is because of its size. And so Scott, got some phone calls about oh, so-and-so was, a town vehicle was speeding past my house, and he could look it up, and he could be like, okay, well, it went past your address at 6:12 this morning. It was going 49 miles an hour and at 55. Thank you for calling. It wasn't actually speeding, kind of thing. Just from a safety standpoint, it's a very minor cost to maintain. It has some good benefit. So that was encouraged by both Scott and the town attorney. And then this goes through who's responsible for charging, right? It's very different. It's different than just running to the gas station and getting filled up and then proceeding. It's and Krista, would you mind explaining what you were able to do with ChargePoint with the card?
Yes. So we have cards that you can, instead of downloading an app to the phone, we got cards in the mail that you can just kind of hold up to the charging station in order to get access to the charging station. And we can log in and see what we're using with that, but we set up a policy so that we're not charging ourselves for it.
Okay. And those will just be given to people who are operating the vehicle.
It's on the keychain.
Okay. Good place for it.
Yeah, so Chris was able to figure that out, and I think that's a real, because we actually, when we installed the parking lot installation involves, there are two places there's the electrical infrastructure in place to put into charging stations. But it's a lot easier if we can just use existing infrastructure instead of making that investment without, adversely impacting public access. So for now, that's where we're going to move into. And then this very clearly answers the question about mileage rate, who's authorized, uh, who can get mileage. So I'm hoping that clarifies those questions that were asked at the organizational meeting. And so this insurance thing, the insurance part that came up was something that the town has insurance. And but if an employee uses their vehicle for personal use, and they're in an accident, the town insurance policy will not cover the repairs to their personal vehicle. And so in some insurance companies, and I would imagine a lot, if you're using your vehicle for work and haven't disclosed that to them, someone could find themselves in the place where the town policy won't cover them and their own insurance won't cover them. And so that's a very nasty place to be. And so that came to our attention. And so this was where the recommendation came down to that for people driving, making sure that they have an appropriate insurance. This is largely for people who are doing routine work, not for people doing incidental work. It's like you drive your personal vehicle to a conference once a year. That's not a work vehicle.
Right.
You're driving it every day for work duties. That becomes a work vehicle. There's a lot of gray area that never involves driving to and from work. Employing driving records. And assignment of municipal vehicles, we expect you to have, a driver's license and all of that. The highway superintendent, commissioner of public works, will assign vehicles. I mean, right now we only have one vehicle. There can be imputed tax, income taxation as a result. And so that falls under the bookkeeper. And then the rules and responsibilities, you should only be using, the municipal vehicles may only be used for legitimate municipal business. Operational exercise and adjustment at all times, avoid any appearance of misuse of a public vehicle. You're not allowed to use public equipment or resources for personal use. Municipal vehicles will not be used to transport any individual who's not directly or indirectly related to municipal business. So, you can't go gallivanting with your family in a town car, even though it's a really pretty town car. Don't keep a bunch of stuff in there that doesn't belong to the vehicle. We're not going to be liable for personal property that's lost. They're expected machines that are supposed to be clean. I mean, I'm not going to go through all of them. It's pretty boilerplate. If you get a citation while operating a municipal vehicle, you need to let the highway superintendent, commissioner of public works know immediately. You have to have approval to go out of state. So it does specify obtain fuel and because there's a future where we may have another gas vehicle for the town. There's still, it's great that we have an electric vehicle currently, but we may have a second vehicle that may or may not be, depending on what we can do. Don't drive and talk on the phone. What happens with vehicle accidents? This kind of intersects with the safety requirements that we already have in place. Special circumstances. Policy provides a basic framework and cannot anticipate every situation that may arise.
Really?
Yeah. So that's, and then we have, failure to comply with this can result in disciplinary action. And then there are exemptions. You can ask for an exemption if you need it. And then we would have employees acknowledge this policy as one of our other policies. So it's a lot, but it's kind of about time that we got there. We just hadn't had to. So any questions about that?
What is an other self-propelled equipment?
Where is page 81?
The first good definitions.
Your definition.
Oh, that's self-propelled equipment.
I didn't know what that
Like
meant.
a bicycle.
Yes, it would be a bicycle.
A bicycle?
Yes, it
Okay.
would.
It's the town bike.
All right.
Or it
That's
could
good.
be
It could be
a town paddle boat,
Mhm.
which we don't own, but we may want to. One was recently washed up on somebody's shore. I saw on Facebook.
Oh, really?
The last storm, yep.
Jeez.
So I think it's a bike, yes.
Okay. I just,
Some of you
I-
developed a bike.
Whenever-
Am I the
Yeah,
self
was-
or is the
yeah,
machine
that's
the
what
self?
she figured
It's an
out.
electric bike, it's propelling itself.
that's what I wasn't sure.
And it is a fair distinction to ask about. I thank you for putting all the time and energy into putting all the stuff in one place, right? Like knowing that you had some policies and probably some that applied and just to put it all together is really helpful.
Well, I was glad you guys raised the question because it's not that anybody's been misusing.
Sure.
I can't remember the last time somebody applied for mileage, to be perfectly honest, but I think it makes sense. It was like, oh, well, you know, but it just made, I think, logical sense at this intersecting point to clarify how stuff needed to be done. So,
Will this
Okay.
become part of like our big organization meeting and
it'll go up on the website.
Okay.
On our policies.
if we adopt it tonight, it will be effective immediately?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure will. So the resolution is just, and I'll move this, resolved that the Ulysses Town Board approves the vehicle use. Town hall fleet policy as I presented. I don't think we
Yeah,
have it
yeah.
included.
I'll second that.
Question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it say in the policy that this, kind of replace, there was any other vehicle policy that we have?
It doesn't,
Did you say that?
it doesn't replace anything. It does stipulate that it doesn't, hold on. If any provision of this policy violates any state, any governing law or regulation, when Blixie reviewed it, it did not look at like it contradicted anything. And so she did review it against policies. And didn't catch any errors. But that's always one of the things that we may need to tweak in the future, but we really didn't really have much on this except the safety accident reporting part. And so she did not catch any, but I can triple check that. And if so, we would just do, my guess is it wouldn't be so contradictory if it did exist, that it would be problematic. And we can always amend that at policy time, January if necessary, or if it's egregious, we can bring it back and do a policy tweak. I mean, it's not law, it's just a policy that the board adopts.
Okay.
We can amend
Yep.
at any point. Okay, so I had a motion.
I'll
A
second-
second?
I'll
Thank
second
you.
that.
Any further discussion?
We just did that.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We had an applicant to the Hugo Lake Watershed Intermunicipal Organization, Carl Komplowski, who was on the planning board. He's doing everything, but I mean, actually, he's
To get rid
now,
of this one
he
committee.
got rid of his one
So-
committee and was interested in doing it, and I found Carl to be a very dedicated soul on any number of things. I'd
And he
like
lives
to-
on the lake.
and yes, he lives on the lake, so he's connected to the Lakeshore community
Right.
neighborhood also, so I think that's a huge benefit. So I'm gonna move that, resolve that the Ulysses Town Board appoints to represent the town on the Hugo Lake Watershed Intermunicipal Organization, Carl Kinkowski.
Well, second.
Thank you. And any further discussion? Thank you for your service, Carl.
Thank you.
And then I will call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then, not least, and
We have
not
three
last,
more.
I know, and not
Last,
last,
not
I was gonna
last.
say. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, given the hour, and it's a proclamation about, the Town of Ulysses Arbor Day, which this year is gonna be April 24th. And, the tree committee is actively figuring out their tree planting activities. So, I'm going to, this resolution proclaims it as Arbor Day in the town of Ulysses, the 24th, and I send lots of thank yous. to all the tree folks of our town. So I'm gonna move this proclamation. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
This is where you want us to remind you, we're
Yeah,
adding to.
Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna do the critical environmental area. So, back when the town board in late 2025 accepted the donation agreement, with PRI, for accepting the donation of Smith Woods. One of the things that's in that, donation agreement is that the town is obligated to review and potentially designate this property as a critical environmental area. And it's a term that's used and defined pursuant to the seeker process. And basically what this does is there's
Mhm.
critical environmental areas get special consideration in environmental review on projects that may impact them.
Okay.
And so basically, PRI was interested in this being embedded in that document because it is such a special place.
Yeah.
And it's such a special environmental area. And wanting to, there's already a lot of deed restrictions about what can happen, mostly what can't happen there.
Mhm.
And this is a designation that the town board can do. And what this particular resolution is that it would start the process of environmental review. And so it would direct, it would preliminarily classify the proposed action as an unlisted action and directs the town planner to prepare a part 1 short environmental assessment form related to the proposed action. And be it further resolved that the town planner is directed to prepare a memo recommending particularized reasons for the designation of Smith Woods as a critical environmental area. And be it further resolved that the town planner is directed to prepare a narrative response to the questions within part 2 of the short environmental assessment form for the town board's review and consideration. And be it further resolved that the town supervisor or her designee, each with the support of the town planner, are hereby authorized and directed to take all the necessary steps to proceed with the potential designation of Smith Woods as a critical environmental area. And be further resolved that this resolution takes effect immediately. So basically it's saying preliminarily, we think it's going to be an unlisted action, and start, directing staff to go through the process to put the first part of environmental review in place. And then it would come back to us for consideration, of course. This isn't designating anything yet. We'd need to have a public hearing related to it. Yeah.
That seems to, if you mentioned deed restrictions limit what can happen in the woods, this sounds like there's then putting some buffers around what might happen, or some eyes on what might happen around the woods, right, or around the space.
Right, and including but not even limited to Route 96.
Sure, exactly, yeah.
And so it's basically, from my understanding and talking with the town attorney, this is probably the most additional protection we can give this property.
Okay.
That's within our purview.
There's a question on the form, the seeker form,
Mhm.
full form, that says, is the project located in or does it adjoin a state listed critical environmental area? So
Okay,
if
so-
there is a project that would be next to this, should we go through the whole process and it's deemed a critical environmental area, there would be additional steps that you would have to describe the impacts to,
Yeah.
and make sure you're minimizing or avoid.
Yeah.
Right.
okay.
So it doesn't
Thank you.
prohibit development, certainly, but
No.
it
No,
definitely
no, I
give it
just,
consideration.
I just wanted to note that, 'cause I think that's what I was understanding. So-
Right, and you're absolutely right. It's not development in Smith Woods. It's
Right,
development
right, it's-
in Smith Woods.
This is the step of putting a buffer around it or slowing it down.
Yeah,
right?
or
Putting
maybe
just
eyes-
considering.
Putting eyes on,
Yeah,
right?
considering
Like
it.
a special set of eyes on process.
yeah. And so if there needs to be, thoughtfulness in whatever design happens, mitigation can be taken.
Yeah.
Again, doesn't prohibit development in any necessary way, but it does require it to be recognized as an important space. So,
Great.
and we need to go per our agreement, we need to go through the process of considering it, and then the town board can decide whether or not it seems appropriate to designate.
So it wasn't in the agreement that we make the designation, simply that we consider it?
Yes.
Just, okay,
Yeah.
This will
So
be a whole process.
Yeah.
With the state that
Yeah,
we'll have to
yeah,
go
yeah.
through,
to be
to
sure.
be deemed a critical environmental area.
Okay.
So it's just beginning.
Okay, so I will move this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and now not last but least, or not least but last, there we go, not least but last. There's this, we're coming up on the semi-quincentennial.
Good job.
Thank you.
There you go.
I had to look it up. And the semi-quincentennial, which I've practiced saying many times between now and the end of next year, or the
That's
end
right.
of, or 4th of July.
Yeah, you just go for it.
So it'll be 27.
Yep.
2027, is, there were some community conversations happening about how to recognize it, and, the village, the town, and Encore performers ended up in a dialogue, and the Encore performers are planning to do a big public presentation outdoors
Hmm.
of the 1776 production. They got the
Okay.
licensing rights to do that.
Cool.
And they're gonna stage it over outside at the conservatory.
Okay.
And they're anticipating 150 to 200 per people per show. And they're looking to do it, their plan is to do it. Right now they're getting, so if you're a good singer, please try out. I will not be.
Nope.
But they're looking to stage the production on the 3rd and the 4th.
Okay.
So the evening of the 3rd and the afternoon of the 4th. And so I would, we're a small community, and I think it's really important to help recognize the semi-quincentennial, but it's also a group that's doing a great, interesting, patriotic, of the period, 1776 period. And I'd like to jump on the bandwagon. They could use some support helping pay for musicians. The village discussed it last night, and they're willing to match what the town's willing to do. We looked at the budget, and we had some surplus, and so I was gonna propose $1,000 sponsorship. The village will match it, and that will, and I might come back later and ask us to help potentially pay to help subsidize some ticket expenditures, because it won't be a free production, because they have expenditures. It's not
Mhm.
cheap it's not free to do, but they're not looking to make money on it. They're looking to break even.
Sure.
Is what that's what I've been told. So it seemed like a big public event that seemed to fit some criteria, and we could lean into that. And I'm sure we can have material or other information of the town, from the town there,
Mhm.
as
Okay.
we want to as well. So I was gonna make a motion to allocate $1,000 to the Encore Players 1776 productions. I will move that.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No, be interested in seeing it.
Yeah, sounds like a great opportunity.
And it's and their plan is it's for all ages. There's, I mean, it's very family friendly, and they'd like to have a big, like, kind of old fashioned, not carnival, like we would think of a carnival today, but outside activities, face painting, all of that. So very, very family friendly, very community friendly. And so it just seemed like a fun thing for us to.
Is that right around when they're gonna unveil the new building?
So the building's gonna be, so that was the other reason, it's in June,
Okay.
but if there's inclement weather, it could be located inside.
So it'll be done.
So it will be done.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's mid-June.
Okay.
I think that the unveiling of TCFA's new spaces.
I walked by the sign the other day and I saw it, but I didn't look at the date.
I peeked in one night. There's lights on.
Nice.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the table. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have some upcoming events. Our next town board meeting is on April 28th. Truly Earth Day. Yep, I stumble over it, and to me, it's not that
good, but
it does.
Yeah, both of those things.
Yeah.
Is on May 2nd. Jacksonville Community Park is also doing a cleanup day that day as well. And then our first meeting in May is May 12th. And
I
then
can't believe it's May already.
I know it's not yet May, but it
Oh.
feels it's coming along. We had minutes from the 28th, I think it was before the 28th, 24th that were posted. I did not have any alterations. Did anybody else have any alterations?
I did not.
No.
So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
Second.
as presented.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I actually don't have any board notifications, but I do have word lots, shoot. I think Lexi put them online, but they didn't get. Krista, did you post the board mods?
Not there, I guess the answer is no.
No, I wasn't putting you on the spot. I'm sorry. I mean, I did put you on the spot, but there are some minor board modifications. I can read through them for everybody. Give me just a sec. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, she did send them to us, but we did not get them posted. So let me, I'm gonna forward to both of you, and I'll read them through for the public. And okay, budget modifications. I just forwarded to both of you, but the first one is in the A fund. Engineering, it's engineering contractual. We're increasing the engineering contractual by $1,500, decreasing contingency by the same amount, $1,500. This adjustment reflects an additional payment to Tatum Engineering for assistance with the RFP for the upcoming NYSERDA funded solar project, the Highway Barn. Contingency funds are being used to cover this cost.
Okay.
The second one was increasing traffic control contractual by $1,500, decreasing contingency in that fund, also in the A fund, by $1,500. This adjustment reflects the purchase of road signage for changes in speed limits. Contingency funds are available to cover the cost. So we've had some town roads whose speeds have changed.
Yeah.
We got notification about it, so we have to put up signs. We have to pay for signs. That's what it
Okay.
is.
That's what Steve was talking about at the state of the town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then in Water District 3's fund, SW3, these are fairly minor. So increases of $300 for water for purification supplies, increase of $850 for water transmission and distribution equipment, increase of $100 for truck maintenance. We decreased the contingency by $1,250 to cover that. Disability and PFL insurance, we needed to increase by $15, and we pulled that $15 out of the worker compensation insurance line. So these were not, yeah, so increases in water for purification, supplies, transportation, distribution equipment, replacement meters, and the water truck maintenance are covered by contingency funds. A slight increase in disability and paid family leave insurance are covered by savings and workers' compensation insurance. Both of these are annual payments. So we budgeted, we got pretty close, $15.
Yep.
We,
$15 is
with workers'
pretty
comp,
close.
we needed $15 for the other one, so. My better half is wondering where I am. I am still safe. I am still here.
That's what I'm getting asked.
We're gonna be towards the end. I haven't got anything on the agenda. So I accept a motion, resolved that the Ulysses Town Board approves the 2026 budget modifications as presented. So motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Payment of audited claims. Krista, did we get a new
Yes,
one?
it was in the.
She had put it.
No, shoot.
There we go. And say I saw it.
So I'll read it. Resolution, first off, did either of you who reviewed it, did you have any questions?
No, they're pretty straightforward.
No, but I wanted to shout out our fuel company for also being patriotic and charging us exactly $1,776 in this round. So well played, well played.
To reach out to them and be like.
Okay, so is that gonna be consistent? No, okay, that's, can we hold that for the year?
Like it. Okay, so resolved that the Ulysses Town Board approves payment of vouchers 146 to 206 and the A through SW funds totaling $106,129.17.
Moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, we're back to privilege of the floor. Roxanne, just for you, I'm not gonna turn on the timer, but.
I don't have to look at this one.
Go ahead if you want.
Two things. One, the Truly You Earth Day. You guys are all involved with kids and sports and clubs, so. If you can get them to come, we're gonna have ice cream prizes for them. and Just get them engaged.
Okay.
That would be great. Yeah, the Jacksonville one is a bit overlapping, but ours goes a little longer and, maybe we can coordinate something with doing some of the cleanup right around there if they want, but anyway, that's how it is. It's always busy. And the other thing I just wanted to comment on was my previous statement and, I wasn't being critical at all by outlining my concern about that vote, and I did want to introduce it, the resolution from the comp plan steering committee to urge checking on the consistencies and errors for that editing, but as well as generally in the document, which I still stand by the rest of what I added, and I really appreciate you, Steve, taking note of what I said. And I didn't get the comp plan steering committee really wasn't dissolved until today. I never got that analysis from Carl. And we didn't see the full outlined thing, and I think maybe no one else on our committee had any more energy for it, but I obviously cared a lot about it, and I would have liked to have seen it. And so maybe going forward we can just work collaboratively. Because obviously I and others put a lot of effort into it and do care about it, so yeah, I would have changed my statement to some extent had I known about that, seeing that in advance. So anyway, appreciate you considering to continue it, to consider the rest of what I said, and I will give it to Krista so you can figure. Great, thanks.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks for sticking with us to the end.
Yeah.
Well,
A long thing.
I didn't want to say that because it seemed like I didn't know what I was talking about, but I didn't know it was that.
No, you're good.
Excellent. Okay, well, given that there are no other members of the public present here online, so we will, we can.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Barring any, not saying anything, we will stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Did he have to get moved?
Best of luck in the day. It
Those
is a
days go
upscale all day at Barton.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so there'll be